Yeah, sure.
Go.
Welcome to the Cucumber New Contributors Ensemble. I'm Blaise here in Franklin, Massachusetts, and I'm joined by who's with us here today? Kay Dames in South Africa, and Lauren is new. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank
Where are
you.
you, Lauren?
I'm located right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Ah, okay. Eastern Time Zone.
That's right.
And Matt Wynn.
I'm in Canada, in the mountains.
That's right. Right. So why are we here?
In 2017, GitHub surveyed over 10,000 open source contributors, and just 3% of them were women. We believe that open source communities will be more vibrant, resilient, and effective if they include everyone. So we hold this space each week for anyone who is new to contributing to open source, especially for people from groups who've historically been underrepresented in open source communities. Our goal is to provide a fun and welcoming environment where everyone can learn to contribute to open source.
We use an ensemble programming format and we follow these principles: safety over comfort, equity over efficiency. We're here to give space to people who've traditionally been excluded from open source, even if that means going a little slower sometimes, and exploration and learning over perfection. If you'd like to join us, you'd be very welcome. You can reach us at CucumberBDD on Twitter.
Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, what are we doing this week? I missed the end of last week's session, and Lauren definitely did.
Weren't we gonna do like rock, paper, scissors or something?
Well, what we did, we finished the, actually, I think our last commit had a to-do.
I saw a bunch of commits going.
We broke everything.
We broke a few things, but then I think we fixed
everything, pretty much.
Yeah, that's true.
Prepare to remove hard-coded repo.
That's right.
Our intention is to
We've
keep
done
the
that.
behavior. Later, we will retrieve a list of repos from the API and loop through the list. So that was the last thing that we did.
So you were still there where everything broke. That was your last commit.
Yeah, I was there when everything broke.
So we need to fix all of that.
Okay. So shall I run npm run build? Does that?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it build or build? Yeah.
So that's not actually showing anything breaking.
I think we're still in the branch.
Didn't you include npm run build into the pipeline?
Yeah, I did. You're right. So I should be able to do npm test. I'm sort of implicitly starting as the driver here, just because it's my computer that we're sharing from, but there's actually no reason why somebody else couldn't run these commands.
Well, that's true. I can run them if you want.
Not seeing a lot of stuff broken here, folks.
Are we in the right
thing? That's why
I've
been contemplating this the whole week.
Did we not? I thought we
had because it's stopped.
Oh, that's right. Our tests aren't failing, but we want to make the switch that will ultimately, I mean, they're not failing because we're using the stub. I think we're basically skipping the tests.
So we're in this transition where I think, because it wasn't the thing about that we added a new method. So where are we? So
yeah, we really
switched. So we changed it to list commits, but then I started wondering, is it commits or is it a merge or a pull request?
Oh, well, but a pull request or a merge would result in a commit. So
yes,
commits is a fine. But what we had this right. So we're transitioning from this get last commit by method to just has committed since. That's what we're in the middle of doing,
right?
Isn't it? And the fake one that the cucumbers use is still using get last commit by. So we need to kind of fix that. I think I know what we need to do. Yeah, I could navigate.
And in Octo
drive.
GitHub.TypeScript on line 16, that was, I think, where we were.
Right,
to
okay, so
get
we
a list
started
of
to
repos.
implement hasCommittedSince properly. Yeah. So there's kind
Lauren,
of two things in
basically-
flow, two things in flux, right?
Basically, what we are trying to build is a little bot that checks the GitHub repos to see who is active and who's not active. And then it moves the people that hasn't committed in more than a year to alumni and remove their permissions.
Amazing.
Yes, thank you, Kate. So that was the context that we were missing. We've gone right down into the weeds and forgotten to give Lauren the bigger picture.
All good. And I see we're writing in TypeScript. So that is,
We are.
whew, that's new.
Oh, by
It's
the way,
like JavaScript but safer.
yes, it's basically JavaScript aspiring to become Python someday.
Microsoft's version of JavaScript.
Awesome.
It's like JavaScript and C sharp. I often think it's like C sharp. Anyway.
Cool.
So what we're going to do first then? I'll bring the mob timer thingy up on the stream, and then we can put some things into that maybe. Where is it? Come on, computer. Yeah. So what should we try and do first? Because I'm a bit uncomfortable with us being in this transitory state where we've got this get last commit by method anywhere. I would like to get rid of it completely, personally, before we do anything else.
Refactor it out. Is there like a search and... we were going to do a deprecation. There was like a deprecation trick.
Or was that
the
something that
tests
Ollie knew
are
about?
updated. No.
Oh, maybe Ollie.
So shall I add this as a goal? Remove
Yeah.
get last commit by method everywhere and replace with hasCommittedSince. Right? And
That's
then
a
the
good
other
goal.
thing that we were starting on was make hasCommittedSince you list all of the repos.
Yes.
Are there any other to-dos in the code? I wonder. I have a tool that tells me about them. Is it this one?
Yes.
So there's one in...
There's one to make it on line 40.
Yeah, so we have this deprecated, remove this method. So that's the one we're talking about here. There's that one there and that one there, which is the bigger picture about implementing it for real. So that's those two. And then there's this one. Right, which is also, there's one here, look, can you see this one? Ta-da.
Lauren, do you know how to follow Matt's, or Matt, do you want to focus participants so that
I
everybody
did just press that. I don't know if it worked for everybody.
Okay.
So that
Yep,
should
I'm following
shoot
you.
everybody over to this one.
Got it.
I've followed you.
Thank
I
you.
don't think it's in the Zoom.
No, I'm not screen sharing. Would you like me to?
No, that's okay. Well, it's if you're recording it, it might be useful for the other folks. Otherwise, don't bother.
No, I'm not recording the Zoom. I'm just using OBS on the screen to record everything.
Oh, perfect. Oh, okay.
So
Fine.
what I would like to do first is get rid of... I'm doing that thing. What does everybody think we should do first?
Well, I agree that I agree that it's messy to have the legacy one sticking around. What I don't know is whether we should somehow work in parallel. I mean, I guess nobody else is using this, so it's not like we're going to break anything if we just remove it. but I don't know. Can we just do like a search and replace?
I don't think it's quite as simple as just to search and replace, because we have to implement it first here. So
Okay.
we need to make the
Then
cucumber
we
test
should implement
work.
it. Okay.
Yeah,
And-
I would say we need to implement it first and then get rid of the get last committed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we could add something like
Oh. Okay.
I think that will then flag up when we run the cucumber tests.
Seven warnings.
Yeah, there we go. So I think we should try and get rid of these warnings first. That should be our first thing to do. Is everyone with me?
Yes.
Lauren, are you how following along are you with that decision?
Mm, I saw your warn in the console.
Yeah.
I'm less clear about what the deprecation is about.
So
okay.
basically, go on, Blaise.
Yeah. So there, we weren't super familiar with the GitHub API.
Okay.
So our initial our initial assumption was that we would go ahead and look for the most recent commit,
Okay.
and then determine whether that most recent commit was less than a year old.
Okay.
And it turns out that the structure of the GitHub API makes it quite a bit simpler to do it differently.
Okay.
And they have a method already built in called hasCommittedSince, which essentially goes through and provides a yes or no. In other words, you give it a date,
Okay.
and it'll tell you whether or not anybody's committed since then.
Nice.
So
Or at
given
least
how much,
it will
Yeah.
list all of the commits since a date, so that effectively lets us just then say, are there
I
any?
thought it gave a Boolean. Okay.
Well, we're wrapping it with a thing that just
That's
returns a
right,
boolean
that's
to
right, that's
simplify it, but their API is just
That's what it is. Right. Okay.
is this one, yeah. But we figured that was easier than what we did originally envisaged. It was simpler to use. So we want to change our minds about how we're going to ask the question.
Got it.
And I am sharing because I like sharing.
So from a
In the
TDD,
chat, there's a document that's pretty handy to look at.
Oh, what's
oh
that?
yeah. Thank you.
Got like example code and
Right.
stuff.
Nice. Thank you.
So that'll work. That if that's about listing team repositories, that will work for when we want to list all of the repos here for this list, right, Kate? Is that what you're putting that in for?
Yes.
This is what we used. Yes. So that's where we got the code samples. Like we need to get a slug like org -teams blah blah blah, and this is kind of like helping us to know how to do it and the response that we're going to get. So we used it as reference.
Right. So
But
I
if
think
you say team repository, maybe we looked at the wrong thing, that it shouldn't be a team repository, but some other repository.
yeah, maybe it should be all the repositories on the org. So there's two separate tasks to do, right? One is I've put them in the mob timer. I don't know if you're all looking at that. There's two separate tasks. So one is to remove the get last commit by method, and then the other one is to implement the hasCommittedSince method properly. So we need to kind of yeah, the first one is basically technical debt, right? We need to remove. We had an old idea for how to do it. We're still half using it. So
I would think we first have to implement the new stuff before we can get rid of the old stuff.
well, the new stuff is implemented. The new stuff is implemented enough in the production. It's not perfect yet because it only works on one repo, but it's enough to like have a shape, and then we can improve it later. So I'd be happy to stop where it is now and go back and I really clear out the old stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
And the thing is, because we're using this hexagonal architecture pattern, we have two implementations of the GitHub API. There's this OctaKit one, which is really making API calls to GitHub, and then there's this fake one, which is pretending it's a simulation of the way the GitHub API works, and because we're currently using the fake one in the Cucumber tests, we're still using the old method, so we sort of need to implement it in the stub in the fake GitHub as well, so that we can so that we can TDD the change, because actually if you look in the main method in here, where are we, retire inactive contributors, we're still calling
Get members up.
get last commit by.
I mean, get last commit by.
Right, so we're going to need to change our actual main method, but we need to sort of get ourselves to that point by first of all implementing this one, I think.
Okay.
So actually we could break down that goal and we could say implement has committed since on fake GitHub, and then we could say change retire inactive contributors function to use has committed since instead of get last commit by. Oh, did I just lose that?
Maybe it's my fault.
It's all right. Anyway, we've got the first thing. Yeah, you reordered them, didn't you?
I tried to.
Yeah, good. It
Sorry.
worked. No, it's cool. I could
Well,
type it
not
again.
two people at once, I guess.
Yeah. Ironic for a tool for mob programming.
So first we're going to implement hasCommittedSince on fake GitHub.
Yeah.
So, am I the navigator?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm the driver. Okay.
Unless does Lauren want a role to start off with?
Oh, yeah. You want to do something?
Me? Oh, I'm just taking it all in. I don't know.
Okay.
But
You can be the supporter.
Okay, I'm
because
great at
I
that.
need a lot of support.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah. Basically, as driver,
Because
I take instructions from Kate.
Okay,
Yes.
got it.
So this is where you're going to see how much support I actually need.
Okay.
So the first thing is, I guess, shouldn't we make it work on line 34?
Yeah.
And so Blaise, do you want to press the focus participants button maybe so that we can follow you? And then in retire contributors.github
Retire.
TypeScript. No.
Wait. Retire. GitHub?
No, don't worry.
No. Is it
No.
retire inactive? .ts?
I lost where I was.
Oh, I think
We're in
we're in
steps
the
TS.
steps, right?
Matt, where should we be?
Well, I think we need to work on the fake GitHub class, which is currently buried in the steps TS file, and it makes me wonder whether the very first thing we should do is extract this out into its own file.
Yeah.
I think that might be
Let's do
less
that.
confusing.
Sure.
You should be able to do that, Blaise, with a refactor command. Like if you click your pointer over the word fake GitHub,
Okay.
there should be a
No.
refactor menu, and then you can say move to new file. Move to a new file. Can you see that? If you stand on line 14 over the word fake GitHub,
Oh, there. Okay, got it. I was in the wrong.
and then right click, and you've got a refactor menu.
Yeah. Go to definition. Go to type definition. P.
Down a bit. It's kind of like halfway down the menu for me. It's underneath.
Rename symbol. Format
Yeah.
document.
And then
Oh,
refactor.
rename symbol.
Well, so
I
we
just
don't want to
I just
rename
hit
it.
rename.
No, try the refactor menu that's like 4 down.
Yeah, for some reason I'm not getting it.
You know?
Permissions.
I don't see it either.
Huh.
So do you want to do it, Matt?
All right. There, it's gone. Where did it go?
Where did it go?
Where did it go?
Fake
Where have you
GitHub.
moved it?
There's a new file.
Where? Oh, right next door. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I think we could move that to live next to the OctaKit GitHub. So you could probably drag it, Blaise, into the source folder. Does that work?
Yeah, that did.
Sweet. And does everything still build?
Oh, you want me to run a test?
Yeah,
I mean,
so
I run
it
a.
didn't update the path in.
It should. Oh, because I moved it.
Yeah, I mean, usually the IDE updates the references, but sometimes it doesn't quite manage to catch up. So I think let's try and should we try npm test and see what it does?
Sure. Oh, it compiled. Oh no, it didn't.
One error. So now you have to fix the error.
Oh, that's an
GitHub
index.
.typescript not found.
Right. That's.
So we need to probably go to tsconfig.json and add it there.
Source index.ts.
That's interesting. I'm surprised that file was there. Oh, it's added it for us, hasn't it? It's been helpful. Yeah, that's.
Oh, and then when I moved it to source, it didn't. So
it's not in feature step definitions.
We don't need that. It probably would be useful if it said steps.ts though. I wonder what that would do. I've never seen that files list before.
I don't.
We have a lot of problems.
There we go. That was the thing I was expecting to see. So it's.
Oh, I see.
It can't.
Okay.
It used to have the file next door, so we need to change that. Oh, I'm talking again.
No.
I think I might put mute on. Do you know what to do, Kate?
You know, you need to fix it. So
Okay. Yeah. So
how do we fix it, Matt? Because
well,
I know that it says 10 import fake GitHub from .fake GitHub, and it's not happy with that because it can't find that module. So we probably need to declare it and stuff.
yes.
We changed the path because when we dragged it into the source folder, it moved. So we need to put a different path there. The bit that it's underlined where it says /fake GitHub.
In the tsconfig.json.
I think we're just going to steps TS
file from the.
So Kate.
Yeah, you're working on it.
Yes.
I made the same assumption that you did, and I think now the proper way to read this error message is features step definitions steps.ts is the file that contains the problem, and then it's on line 28. Or excuse me, on line 10.
Yeah. 28 characters in from the edge, I think, is what the 28 is.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I think you're almost there with ... Blaise. I think you might need to go up another one because we're in features / step definition, so we're 2 directories down from the root. So if you want to get up to source, you need to jump up 2, I think. That's made the red underline go away on my editor. I don't know about yours.
Yep.
Do you want to try running the tests?
Yeah. So Kate, I had the same. I read the error message and thought that it was meaningful. I mean, the real root of the problem is at the very beginning of the, I think, npm test, npm. I must not have terminal access. It's not typing. Yep, it's not letting me type.
Go. Try now. Can you type? Yay.
You've got the power.
Retire. Oh, I see. So then, so now when we go into source fake github.ts up here, it's telling us that on line 1, position 32, it doesn't like retire inactive contributors. So if I'm in here, I want to go, oh, okay.
Is it 2?
No, it's not. It's actually just
I
up.
think it's only 1. So //
So, oh, I see the source part. So it's up and then
So
source.
just delete /
Yeah.
/ so that there's only 1. Is that correct, Matt?
I think that's right now. I'm not getting the red line. So let's see.
So
I think, but we can simplify it even further than that.
Is there like a source root variable?
Well, we're because these are relative paths, so what we want to say is, or what we can say, is it's in the same folder as me, because we're now stored in the source directory, the same as the main function. So you
that's right. It is the same folder as me.
So you can
that's
just say / would work as well. Yeah.
Okay.
well done.
Okay.
So we've done one thing.
Yeah. So once again, we went to do one thing and we found another thing to do along the way. That never happens, does it?
Yeah.
That's all that happens.
Yeah, it is all that happens. You're right. Yeah.
So, do we want to start doing something here?
Should we make a commit first?
Oh yeah, of course.
So
that's on me.
Separated fake GitHub into a separate file.
And I need to add Lauren as a collaborator, as a co-author.
Amazing.
Can you? Oh, you're there. Look at that.
Look at me.
You can't see it, but it's added you there already.
Amazing.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, that's great. Okay.
It's fancy, isn't it? So, what did you say, Kate? Separate.
Separate fake GitHub.ts into a separate file, or something like that.
Into its own file. Oh, I think it just did. It just forget.
Somebody pressed git add.
I did get add because we didn't have them in our staging.
It didn't do all of the co-authored by stuff. I'm going to fix that. can't spell amend.
Oh, we had fun with this last week.
Something weird is going on with this.
So the terminal type, when you're in VS Code, the terminal type is not Xterm or whatever it ought to be. So your keyboard mapping is going to be really weird.
So you can say
Yeah, that's better. So now everybody's credited.
D to delete the whole line, or DD, or.
Oh, he did it. Great.
I've done it. I'm yeah. It's easier for me because it's on my machine, so it doesn't look weird on my machine. It just looks weird for everybody else.
Okay.
Okay, so now that we've done that, there's still export class fake getup implements getup. Shouldn't we get rid of that as well on line 3? Oh no, that is fake getup. Sorry.
Fake GitHub.
That is two
well, we
files
want to.
now.
I think we want to implement this now, right? I mean, implement.
Yes.
So we don't necessarily have to change the fake. We don't have to change the big stuff yet.
Kate, should we
Yes.
rotate roles now that we did a
Yes.
commit?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Good idea.
So if I press the rotate button, I believe that we're going to have Blaise.
Blaise is
navigating
the
now,
navigator
and Lauren, gets
Lauren
the
is
type.
the driver, but Lauren said she
You
doesn't
ready?
want to be the driver.
I can drive for 5
you're
minutes
invited.
and then I gotta bounce. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
All right. So
So I think we want to insert. Well, should we declare our variables up at the top?
What do we want to do here?
Well, if we're going to be do a has committed since, I'm thinking we probably want to take in the date. Right?
Well, remember we've got this method here that the tests use in the givens to create a commit. So we're going to have this dictionary of this dot commits by user already.
I see. Okay, so we don't have to.
So we probably just need to like ask commits by user if it has any commits by that user, and then whether they're newer than that date, and then we can it'll probably be working.
So then, do we want to then add a constant next to updated commits? Oh no, because we're going to get that dictionary. Okay. So let's see. So we've got. So basically, we're going to be
Would it be a
getting.
loop, like a for loop?
I think that this dot commits by user is a map, and you can ask
I'm
a map.
talking about has committed since.
Yeah, and in has committed since, what we need to do is look at the list of commits by user.
Yeah.
And ask it whether there is a commit by that user, and there should be a method on a map to do that. I'm not sure what it is. I can look up the docs for a map.
Oh, there's probably like some sort of filter.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think so. The core piece of logic is to take the expiration, the 365. Basically, we want to say, is the last date greater than 365 days away in the has committed since.
We don't need to do any of that core logic here. We just need to tell whether there's a commit since that date.
We've already done that.
Yeah.
Because days ago is defined as a variable. And we can set that to 365, I guess. I think.
So we're returning, wait a second, we're reading one user from the map, right? And we're reading one date?
I think Matt is looking at the docs.
Yeah, we have a has. That's not quite what we want. Okay. Do you want me to try navigating for a bit, Blaise?
Yeah, if we do a has, sure. sure. Because if we do a has, wouldn't we then have to say has a date greater than or a date less than 365?
Well, no, we don't need to worry about the 365. That's not our job. That's not our
Okay.
business. All we have to do is just respond yes if there's a commit by that user newer than that date, and no if not. So it kind of feels a bit weird that we haven't got any tests for this thing, and I wonder whether everybody else is feeling that.
Yeah, it does feel. Yeah, I'm feeling that. That's exactly how I'm feeling.
So maybe we could write a test for this method.
Sure. So then what we'd want to do is go over to the test directory.
Well, we're actually creating tests right next door. If you look at the way the OctaKit GitHub one is done, there's just an OctaKit GitHub .test.ts. And we could do the same thing here. We could create a fake GitHub.test.ts next to this file. We should be following Lauren because she's driving.
Oh yeah, Lauren's driving.
GitHub.
Okay, Lauren. So go in there's a adjacent file called OctaKit GitHub.test.ts. And if you wouldn't mind opening that. Let me follow. Sorry, I'm following the wrong person. Let me follow.
Somebody's created the file already. It's there.
It was me.
Awesome.
Okay. All right,
I can't tell from the things, the pixels I'm seeing on the screen who's doing what, but stuff is happening and it's good.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it's like magic. So, so I think we want to do an it. Let's say that we go to. Shall we go to the end?
You could plagiarize the one in the OctaKit GitHub test for a bit.
Okay.
Like you could plagiarize.
Copy, import, and everything.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
How do I get you to where I am?
Yeah. If you press the megaphone button in the sort of top right of your IDE, there's a thing called Focus Participants, and that'll make us all follow you.
Okay. So you just want me to copy this?
Yeah, we're going to steal that.
I guess you can copy everything.
Everything from here to here, or just the whole file?
Don't you need to start with the import?
Oh, with the describe. I guess we can copy the whole file and get rid of the stuff we don't need.
Okay.
Sure. Let's copy the whole file. And then hop on over to the test. Yep. And paste that. And then things that we don't need would be describe fake. Oh, wait. We're testing fake GitHub, right? So I guess
Replace all these.
I guess we want to test. Yeah. So we want to import fake GitHub. And we're going to import that from fake GitHub. Yeah, exactly. Fake GitHub. Do we have to say .ts?
No.
No. Okay, perfect. And then that will stay the same.
We won't need get OctaKit.
Yeah.
Actually,
we're a fake.
Oh, okay, that's right. We were fake. Okay. So then those things we want for our assertion. So then we want to describe fake GitHub. Excuse me. Wait, if we're not importing OctaKit, then we can just say describe fake GitHub, right?
Yeah. Because this is the test for the fake GitHub class.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then for I guess the context, that's going to be the same. Working out if a user has...
What's going to be the same, Blaise?
The context, the string.
Yeah, I think the describe and its are still valid, right? Because we want them to behave the same way. It's just the way we test them is a bit different.
Yeah, this is the beauty of BDD. This is why I'm here in the first place. So we need the token stuff. I guess if we're not using the real GitHub, do we need the token, or we
No.
just leave? No. So you can take out the token, the definition and the method.
But Lauren, did you say you needed to go?
I
Oh,
do
that's right.
in like
Okay.
1 minute. But
No, okay. Well, thank you so much. Then we can.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't need to drive. If you have to
Right,
go in 1
I'll-
minute.
yeah, okay, I'll stop driving. But that was really fun. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks
I'm gonna
for
come
coming
back next week
in.
for sure. Yeah,
That'd,
thank you.
that'd be very nice.
It was nice
Great.
meeting you.
Nice meeting you all. Yeah, nice to see you again, Matt.
Yeah,
And,
likewise. Thanks
If
for
I
coming.
don't see the Slack invite, I'll just ping you on Twitter.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Okay.
I did send you a calendar invite. I tried to send you a calendar invite.
Great. I got it.
You did. Good. So
Yeah.
it should be in your diary as well,
Okay, great.
with the Zoom
All
link
right.
and everything. And please tell your friends if you have any other friends that you think would like to come. Please tell them.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you all. See you next week.
Cheers, Lauren.
Bye.
Okay, should we press the rotate?
Yeah. Sure.
I guess I'll delete Lauren from the mob.
It's nice to
Okay.
have them.
So the tool says you're navigating and I'm driving now, Blaise.
Okay.
Shall I just do
So-
what I'll do your bidding? What do you want me to do?
Yeah. So I guess line 13 we can get rid of, and actually, yeah, get rid of all of again. Oh wait. Yes, that we don't need the GitHub adapter, and you get rid of that whole method, and then that we want to keep.
So
But-
maybe what we want is our GitHub adapter is different. It's a new.
Yes, it's a fake GitHub.
Ah! What did I do?
I'm still following Lauren.
Oh yeah, shall I
I'm
megaphone?
gonna follow Matt.
Okay, got it.
I better stop following Lauren. Right, and then the fake GitHub doesn't take these constructor parameters. Okay. And we do we need this stuff?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we need that because we're not doing any authentication.
Yeah.
And we're just doing the fake.
So we could try doing this and running that test on its own.
It only. Oh, wow. Okay.
Doesn't know Mocha. But why?
It's just the wrong command. I should have said test unit, not mocker. Woo, boom.
No, it's really not happy. It's 27.
Oh, because we've still got
problems.
lots of other stuff further down that's doing things. So it doesn't even compile. So it won't let me run it because it doesn't even compile.
Oh, well, then we should get rid of the other. Get rid of all
Shall I
the
just
stuff we
comment
know.
it out for now?
Yeah, it's true. You could keep it select. Yeah, so select 15 through 50.
I'll just comment those out like that. Okay.
Yeah. Will it compile with an empty? Oh, yeah, it will. Yeah. Okay.
I think
Yeah.
we'll just see. Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Brilliant.
Okay. What should we do next?
Okay, so now we actually have to returns true if they have, gets members of a team. I guess we want to do get the list of members.
What about doing the other side of because we're working on hasCommittedSince.
Oh,
aren't we?
yeah, that's right. Has committed
So-
since.
So should we work on the other side of it? Because just because it tells us no doesn't mean it's going to tell us yes.
Right. Okay, so then we should go over to the implement. We're ready to go over to the implementation.
Well, I don't know because we need a test to make us go over to the implementation. So we want to sort of
that's right.
implement. I think we want to implement this test.
So we just need to replace the tokens with the something else.
Well, we don't need the token part. What we can do is just say that date on which Matt has committed. So we uncomment the 16 through 21. And now we're
We
testing.
need the GitHub adapter.
We remove the GitHub adapter, right? Yeah. And then we can say await where it says await on line 18, we can remove the GitHub adapter?
Why?
Because aren't we waiting for the fake GitHub to return it?
You've
Oh,
Yeah,
I
got
see.
it
Oh,
on line 8.
okay,
That
got
is
it. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think what we need to do as well is we need to set up the commit by Matt. So we need to do GitHub adapter dot create commit. This is this thing that we do using the given steps.
Oh.
And then how many days ago is that?
Well, oh, March 1st? Or April 1st. April 1st is
Make it 120 days, 122.
Thing is, it's going to be brittle, isn't it? We kind of need to
yeah.
work it out, but we could do it for now. Oh,
Because
what's happening?
That's interesting.
My keyboard got stuck or something? It did it
I
a million
guess.
times. 120.
what is more than 120?
So remember, we're not implementing the logic here about whether it's old enough, right? We just need to know whether they have done a commit or not, right? The logic about whether or not the commit is within a year belongs elsewhere. The job of this adapter is simply to tell us whether there is a commit since the date. So we know that whether we've done a commit on...
Then why do you need line 21?
Well, the protocol for hasCommittedSince is we say, we're going to ask GitHub, list all of the commits by this author since this date, and then count them. And if there's any, then we say, yes, they have committed in since that date. But that allows it, we get to choose what the date is. So our business logic is going to leverage this component to say, has there been a commit since the date 365 days ago? But if we change that business rule, we can still use the same function to tell us if they've made a commit 6 months ago or 3 years ago. So this thing isn't responsible for that logic. It just needs to tell us whether or not there's a commit. So what we could do is we could create a commit that's like 0 days ago, right? Because this is a fake, so we could create a commit 0 days ago.
Oh, okay.
And then we could just make sure we ask whether they've committed since a date in the past sometime.
Okay.
Is that making sense to everybody else?
Right. So that way we can, depending on what we... Well, wait a minute. So then this basically would mean that we would know when you say that we would ask if it had committed a date, you mean as input to the action from somewhere else, right? In other words, are you saying that we would do that so that this could return either true or false depending on what we pass into it?
Yeah, because this is the fake. So
okay,
we've got this set up here where they've not made a commit at all.
Right.
So we call it and say, has this user made a commit since today? And it says no.
Okay.
But then we could also call it and say, right, there is a commit by this user.
Yes.
Which was made today, because that's a 0.
All right. Okay.
And then we'll ask it, has the user committed since... And then, so actually we want this to just be like some date ages ago.
Okay.
So maybe we could rename that to ages ago.
Yeah, long ago. Yeah.
And then now it should say
we
true.
change it to like 2020 or something like that. Some,
The reason why we specifically chose that date was because that was what was in the
right. It happened to be
fish
the most recent.
cakes.
Yeah, and that was when we were writing the tests for the real adapter, which is going to really make a call to GitHub and find a real commit on GitHub. But this is a different one.
So we can choose any date because it's fake.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah. So should we just maybe change that to a 1-1 so it's sort of... Okay. So then actually we don't need that to do. Shall I try?
When is February, by the way? When is February? Just so you know, number 1 is February. It's a 0 initial. It's...
You are kidding me.
No. We found that out. That's why it was 3.
Bonkers.
Yeah. So 0 is January.
New date 2020 01. Wow. Wow. Well, it never ceases to amaze you with its horrific decisions, JavaScript, does it?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, it's old.
Yeah.
It's old.
Yeah, but the people in the olden days could have made good decisions too. Like, it's just, I don't know, silly. Shall I run the tests?
Sure.
I guess I need to get rid of the it only.
Oh.
I think all the people that's used it since should have changed it.
It could have
When
been.
it stopped being a good decision, because obviously it was a good decision at the time when they made it.
Okay.
It made
So
sense.
now
Maybe they added the days.
Now we have a failing test because we haven't implemented this yet. And this was our goal for today, was to implement hasCommittedSince on the fake. So now we have a failing test for that.
That's cool.
Does somebody want to ping pong with me, and now they can make it pass?
Yeah, I don't quite have confidence to do that, but yeah.
Well, I can try and navigate.
Sure.
Kate, you haven't had a chance to drive yet either. Do you want to do that?
Oh, Kate, you can. Kate hasn't driven.
I have.
Oh, you have?
Okay. But I didn't renew my license.
But it's been ages. Come on. Are you ready to drive?
Sure.
Cool. Well, let's follow you.
I?
Let's follow you. So in this hasCommittedSince function, instead of just returning false, let's do something a little bit more sophisticated. Let's say return, instead of false, say this dot commits by user.
That right?
And then like latest or something?
Yeah, I think you call .get. Oh, actually, this .commits by user .has. No. Yeah, try .get.
Afterwards?
Yeah,
like
you don't need to
user?
call it. Just do this .commits by user .get. And then pass that the author.
Oh, so make a parenthesis, right? And then put author in exactly.
Yeah, and try that. What does that? Why is that? Commit or undefined is not assignable to type Boolean. Undefined is not assignable to type Boolean.
Because we're returning.
So there's a trick you can do here to make something into a Boolean. If you put 2 bangs in front of the expression, Kate. So return bang bang this dot commits by user dot get, 2 exclamation marks.
What is a bang?
An exclamation mark. Yeah, that's it. And get rid of the space between the. There you go. So what that does is it just it sort of pumps it through a conversion into a Boolean and comes out of the other side of it being the same, right? Because bang means not. So if you had 1 bang, it would turn something that was false into true. But if you have 2 bangs, it turns something that's true into false and then back into true again.
Oh.
So it's just a little idiom for making any value into a Boolean, and now TypeScript's happy with it. So you could delete line 25.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But is it settable and queryable yet?
Yeah, because we've
We're
got the
doing that
create
elsewhere.
commit.
Okay.
But what
So-
are we doing with the date? Why do we have the date?
Well, I think we're going to
Should we
need
not
another test for
remove it?
that. So let's come back to that. Let's see what this one does for starters. I'm trying to build up to it.
Okay, so my thing is doing weird stuff to terminal. I don't see what I'm typing.
Oh,
Can you run the test?
yeah, sure.
'Cause-
That's it. NPM test.
Yeah,
It's-
I
it's
can't
annoying, isn't it,
see.
about
It's
that?
like,
Yeah.
Is it going to be upset that we're not using the variable date? I guess not.
It whines, but it doesn't stop us from running tests. You can
Okay.
see here in the terminal it says like the linter is whining, but it's not actually
Sure.
stopping us. All right, so we've got a passing test, but we haven't used the date. So this is a perfect example of ping pong pairing, why it's brilliant, because we've written an implementation that is making all the tests pass, but there's obviously something wrong, right? So we need
Right.
better tests.
Ah.
so
We need
we're
a
going to
better
go
test.
to
So what's wrong-
fake.get.test.
Yeah. So what's wrong with our test, Kate? Can you write another test or improve this test so that we have to use the date? I would say we probably want a third test because there's 3 cases. There's the case where the user has never committed. There's the case where they have committed since the date. And then there's the case where they have committed but it was ages ago.
And is it all of this?
Yeah.
Okay. So returns true if they...
I think the test we want this time is it returns false if they have committed but before the date.
What date can I call
You can say
this?
given the given date, or yeah, because we
Doesn't
pass in
really
a date.
explain it. Yeah.
So
okay,
I think what
so
you could do is you could change the variable long ago to be today, and then just do new date without any parameters, and that will create a date of today. And then where we do create commit and we pass a 0, pass it like 100 or something. So
100.
yeah. And then instead of long ago on line 32, I want to say today. There we go.
Has
And then now we should
committed is-
expect in our assertion that it's false. Does that make sense?
sort of.
Do you want me to run
Should
the test?
we run the test?
We should see it fail now. This new test should fail. Yeah. Sweet. Okay.
So now back to fake it up.
Yeah.
And has committed since, then we need to do something with the date. So we want to get the date of the last commit for that user.
Yeah, or we need to filter the commits to see whether any of them match the have a more recent date. So what you could try doing is, instead of returning on line 24, set the return from commits by user into a variable, so you can make a const commits equals. You okay? Stop typing. Oh, is Kate frozen?
I think she might be frozen.
No?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, you froze for a sec.
not
My
dead.
internet
Oh, there we
went
go.
blank.
Yeah.
There we
Right.
go.
And then get rid of the bang bang. So we get and what we should then have is an array of commits, but it could also be undefined because there may be no commits by that user. So you could say on the right hand side of the expression, you could say or an empty array. So or would be like 2 pipes.
Pipes.
That's it. Yeah. And then an empty array is
What will
square
we
brackets.
call it?
Perfect.
Don't we need a name?
No.
Okay.
No, that's fine. But I would probably call that variable commits plural because it's a list of all of the commits. Right, sweet. And then what we can do is we can return commits dot. What have we got on a JavaScript array? That asks array. I always think about Ruby because Ruby's got so many sweet methods.
It does.
We've got find.
We have like blast or something.
Yeah, find would do. So you could say return. Is there not has or any or
Find is there.
yeah some? Yeah, some. Some is the right one because some is going to give us back a boolean, which is better. So return commits.sum, SOME. It's kind of another way of saying any.
No, it's SOME.
SOME. Like, are there some commits?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to pass. Some is going to take a function. So open some parentheses, and then inside those open even more parentheses.
Oh. So another
Predicate, value, commit, index, array.
Yeah.
Okay, you can tell me.
Just open more parentheses,
Yeah.
and inside those parentheses put commit. Right, and then outside of the parentheses make one of those arrows like a equals, and then that's it. All right, and then we're going to do commit dot date. Has it got a date property on it? So what do I want to say?
Think so.
Commit dot date is greater than or equal to date. Right?
Wow.
Okay.
And then I think let's try running the tests. Shall I press the buttons to run the tests?
Yeah, I guess that's. So
I did this workshop at Agile with Jim Shaw, author of the brilliant book Art of Agile, and he had a setup where you just ran a script and it automatically ran the tests every time you changed a file, and it made a lovely sound. So it would make like a sound if the tests were failing, or it would make a sort of bling sound if the tests were passing.
Nice.
It's very satisfying. We did it, Kate. Look, it works.
So
We did it.
now the test is working. So now we can
Did you commit?
delete line 26.
Yeah.
And can we commit?
Yeah. Shall I do that?
And then we're out of time, I guess.
We are.
So what do we need to do next week before we commit? Can we put it to do to say this is where we were maybe, or?
Good idea. Or should we? Maybe we can do that in a separate commit so it's super vivid.
So basically we added a test.
So I think what we need to do next is get rid of the deprecation warning. And I think that we're going to need to do that by going into the actual retire inactive contributors function and changing it to use the has committed since method instead of the get last commit by method.
Okay, this is probably not the best place to add that.
Oh, right. Should we put it in the commit message?
But do we ever look at the commit message?
Well, we could write a specific, we could do a specific commit now with what's next to do. And we've got a few to-dos sprinkled around the place about removing it. Maybe what we could do is add one on line 22 of retire inactive contributors. Like, I don't know if you can follow me, but here.
Oh yeah.
Because this is where we need to go next.
Following you, or I'm in retire inactive contributors.
Yeah, so on line 22 of that file.
Yes.
What if we add a to-do above this line, and this is, or on this line, saying, I wonder if we can say next. Does that, like in capital letters, does that kind of highlight in the IDE? Yeah, great. Yeah. And then what we're going to do is replace this call, or replace this with a call to,
CommittedSince.
Replace get last commit by with a call to hasCommittedSince. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Cool.
Do you have time to do a wee retrospective before we go away?
Sure.
Yeah.
Great.
Did you commit?
Not yet, but I will.
Why is it asking me? No, I'm anonymous. Oh, come on. Miro.
Are you able to type in here now?
Where?
Terminal?
In the source control window, I feel like other people are typing.
No, I'm not.
You can't see what I'm doing, can you?
in there. I'm on Miro. So
You're on Miro.
Definitely not me.
Okay.
Cute show head. Okay.
Yeah, good. I'm going to just make sure we've got all the latest JavaScript checked in as well. I'll just run the tests. Oh, we've got an error. Fake GitHub has got too much white space in it.
Fix option. Fixable with a fix option. That's handy.
So let's try again. It's really funny that a bit of extra white space is substantial enough for it to break the build.
It's crazy.
I mean, I like my white space tidy and everything, but
yeah,
arguably we could turn a blind eye to it every now and again. Okay, I'm going to git push.
Or it should just be able to fix it without.
Do you know what I'm going to do as well? Watch this. I'm going to swap.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
What's rebase?
I'm going to put the to-do one at the end.
Rebase is basic. It's a bit like reordering the commits. You're essentially putting a bunch of commits
hold on a minute.
onto instead of merging. It's kind of like an overlay. So are you going to squash these, or
No, I just wanted to.
Pattern something.
Oh no. Okay, I'm not doing the rebase.
Yeah, it's
not gonna
breaking
work. It's too
everything
complicated.
again.
I give up. Never mind.
so?
I just wanted to put that one at the end.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I guess I could do.
They have a.
That'll be enough.
Yeah,
No? Yeah, there we go.
that's pretty
We just
clever.
swap those two over. There we go. No? Okay. Right, I'm going to push. Yeah, so Tamiro.
I added a memory bank start next, and I will make it red. So pink, because that's the only color that's available. Or not the only color that's available, but I added this a while ago, the 20th July, but we haven't used it.
Should we recycle it?
So I thought that it's time to change things up a bit because it's been the same and I didn't feel we're getting any value out of it anymore.
Mhm.
But I'm open to what did you want to discuss anything specific, Matt, or did you just want to check
No,
in
I just think it's a good habit to be in to do a retro at the end of the session, just so we can learn from it and improve, or amplify the good.
So before we do that, can we do the actions? I made two things in green from the previous time that I think we've done, but I wanted to confirm, and I think both of them have been confirmed, right?
Yeah.
The npm run test is now part of the pipeline,
Yeah.
and the sequence diagram has been merged in, so I can remove those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the
And that one also,
one
the Promisify is also done.
is this one done?
Yeah.
Yes.
Promisify.
Let's just, there, I can make it green. I think it was done a while ago, actually. So set goals at the start of the session. That should actually go to the memory bank, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's in the checklist, isn't it?
Maybe, but I wonder, we don't really look at the checklist as we
We
start
don't
work. I think this is
Okay.
quite good to leave it here.
Yes, we've got no actions. That's
Yeah.
the way it should be.
Yeah.
So what I did here was to explain, if you think back of the session, how do you feel? Explain in one word on one sticky, or maybe two words, but just to summarize the end of the session, how do you feel?
Okay. I'm just going to write up what did we do as well.
I don't know if that's a word. And then in the what did you learn? So basically the purpose of the retrospective is to improve. So you need to be able to do something differently or learn something differently or something like that. So what did we learn today, and are we learning stuff, or should we change something. So, yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Do we want to go through it quickly? So I said I feel never-ending story because I feel like we've been busy with this for 6 months and I've got no idea where we are or how long it's going to take or where we, like, I feel like I don't know where, I guess it's kind of like I need a plan to know where I am so that I can know where I'm going. So I feel a little bit lost might be a better word. So I'm going to change it to lost. So that's how I feel at the moment.
Yeah, or disorientated.
So that's interesting, Kate, because I think this has been a long-standing struggle of mine, but I think what's really valuable about Cucumber are the reports, because they summarize the tests that are running and what the tests are meant to accomplish. And what's really interesting to me in the Cucumber developer community, there's very, very little attention given to the reports. And people focus a lot on writing source code. And I get that, but that part is only interesting to people who are really into it. In other words,
I agree with you that the
and I think that
reports
for
could
people
be
looking from the outside in,
useful.
yeah, from people looking from the outside in, the reports are really useful.
What do you think, Matt? Do you think that would make a difference? Should we
Well, do you
look
remember
at-
I had that long-standing action about drawing a diagram? And Blaise did a sequence diagram.
Oh,
And
We
what
could do
I'm
a longer-
imagining is that we had a way to visualize the architecture either as the sequence diagram or as a more of a kind of like just boxes and lines kind of a diagram of like, here's this object calling this other object. Either way.
So
But
for
we've
example,
done that in the sequence diagram, which I thought
Yeah.
was pretty cool because it's very simple.
Yeah.
So it's
And
easy to understand.
What I would love is if we could light that sequence diagram up, showing how much of that envisaged implementation, that planned implementation, is already existing and working, and how much of it is still like in flux, or you know, we're still writing a test for it.
well, I don't know who does.
Because I kind of have that in my head, but I
Well,
can completely
that sounds
appreciate
really
that for
awesome.
you, it's there's no map.
Right.
That's just how I think. Oh, did I do that? I'm like a holistic thinker, so I need to have the big picture in order to navigate, because prioritization is one of my core functions. So it's hard for me to know what's next or where we are. But that sounds really cool.
So,
But that's
Matt,
not something that we can really do right now, correct?
No,
not today,
I'm
but
like
we could.
imagining. I mean, we could do it. We could do it by hand in Miro, for sure. And I almost wonder if we've kept on talking about this and bouncing back and forth and talking about should we do planning or should we just keep hacking on the code. And I almost wonder if we should try and be really disciplined next time about not writing code until everybody really understands the path to shipping this into production and what are all of the things that we're going to need to build out and how much of that have we already done and what's left to do. And have some way of visualizing that everybody's clear with, whether it's a to-do list in a GitHub ticket or whether it's a drawing in Miro or some combination of the two or something else.
Yep, that might be good. But the reason why we didn't do it last time, because you actually asked, was that it sounded as if we're pretty much close, and that was 3 sessions ago.
Yeah.
And then you said like we a third, so it's only 2 more of that, then we're done. And it's 2 sessions later now, and I feel that we haven't actually progressed. So yes, maybe that would be worthwhile.
So I think, this is the thing about developers and their estimates, isn't it? Is that when we had that conversation, we hadn't yet discovered this thing about the way GitHub's API worked for listing commits, and then we made a decision to change the hasCommittedSince to use the hasCommittedSince method, and that's a whole little rabbit hole that we need to go down and come back out the other side of before we're back on the path that we had been on previously. And I think it's important to do it because technical debt is a thing, and if we don't clean up the code to match our current understanding of how to solve the problem, we're going to leave it in a state where we don't even understand it, let alone somebody else coming along to try and understand it later. But we've given ourselves something new to do that is going to take us a couple of sessions to finish off. So that's sort of set us back a little bit, but it's typical. And I think we tried to use the yak mapping, that like having a mind map that I described of like, here's the central goal and then here's what we need to do. But I think it might be helpful to try using that. So
we never actually completed that.
Well, no, we did it very early on, and it was sort of too hazy at that point about what all the things were that we had to do. But today, in real time, we had this thing that happened where we started out with a goal of, let's remove the getLastCommitBy method. And then we discovered that we needed to do this other little thing, which was to like move the fake GitHub class into its own file, right? And that was a whole nother little loop that we went round. And this is how it always happens. It's fractal. You start out with something you think is going to be what you're going to do today, and then you discover that there's 3 other things you need to do that. And then when you start doing the first one, you discover there's 1 thing you need to do before you can do that. And picturing that, I have found, especially in a remote mobbing context, is really helpful. So maybe that's what we need to bring in. It's a suggestion I would have, is that we could try, maybe instead of using the goals in mob time, we can try and visualize it more in a 2-dimensional space, a hierarchy of goals. Maybe.
Because that was why we started wanting to use the GitHub projects.
Yeah.
But then we never really did.
No, and GitHub projects are very kind of linear, and they're maybe more suited to like organizing a team of people who are working independently on multiple things at once, and that's not us. We're a single thread of decision making and prioritization. So what we more need is a way to visualize the plan, like what we're doing currently, why we're doing it, and what else we've got going to have left to do after when we finished it.
Yeah, because maybe it's just the way I think, but usually I'm the person that's before you get into the Cucumber BDD test, and the given when then is kind of like still my domain before I hand it over to the developers. And usually the way I do it is I have not an architecture, but a solution context kind of like diagram. And then I break it into little bricks to say, this is the whole puzzle, and these are the bricks that needs to be built. And you can pick any one you want, but these are the most important ones, and these are optional, so nice to haves and whatever. And we never really did that. So to me, I'm just like in the sea, and I don't know if there's 500 pieces to go or one piece to go. I think that's where I'm like feeling, where are we?
Yeah. So a really good thing that we could do, and we could start next session with it, if I just went over to the Miro board on the right hand side, right, is we could just literally say, like, what are we going to do next? Well, what we said, what did we write in that to do, was we were going to change, retire inactive contributors to use hasCommittedSince. Right, that's the thing that we're going to...
The red one.
Okay, great. So I can just take that and duplicate it and just put it over here, because what we can then do is we can think, right, we can ask ourselves, why do we want to do that? And the reason we want to do that is because we want to remove the get last commit method. And why do we want to do that? Because we want to clean up the technical debt before we move on to the next thing. And what is the next thing that we're doing? Or what is the overall thing that we're trying to do? And we can just keep trying to like climb up the Y stack till we've got a picture of the overall purpose of what we're trying to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, Kate?
Yeah, I love 5 whys, but to me, I know our why. Our why is to improve the security, to remove the inactive contributors so that you've got a more accurate view of who's contributing.
Yeah.
To me, that's the purpose.
Yeah. But so what's the link between us?
Then that's the outcome.
Yeah.
And then usually it's kind of like a remember the future exercise where you say, in order to have that, what do you need before that, and what do you need before that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
On a high level.
Yeah.
So it's not a detailed project plan. It's just kind of like a roadmap to say, these are the next most important thing in order to get there.
And that's what we can have in the Yak map, is we can create a causal link right from that thing of improving the security for Cucumber down to we're renaming this, we're removing this method, or we're implementing this method. We can draw that tree of things, and then when we finish the things at the leaf nodes, we step back up a level and go, right, okay, what else is there to do? So I think we could do that for ourselves. I think we have enough context now that we could do that for ourselves, and it would probably help with that feeling you have about being lost, probably.
Yes, just like it shouldn't take longer than like 20 minutes max.
Yeah, right.
If that long.
Yeah.
Because if we're spending so much time on the planning, I feel it's too much.
Yeah.
So I said define roadmap as a next step, like for next time.
Yeah, I mean, roadmap's a word that can mean lots of different things to different people.
The path or whatever, the sequence.
But I think the three of us understand roughly what we mean, don't we?
Yes.
The road from where we are to where we want to go.
Yeah, the path forward,
Yeah.
Okay. And then, Blaise, you said blessed. Do you want to expand on that?
I just feel really lucky. I just really feel like fortunate, I guess, to be able to participate. And there's an aspect of the work that we do here that is not widely available. This is there's a combination of like creativity and freedom and ingenuity and wisdom that uh, that's scarce in my life these days. And so this is really
Yep.
and I see
It's like
people.
a community
Yeah.
building friends, and Matt keeps being patient with us and explaining things and showing up. Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, and you bring an awful lot to this, to be honest. There are very relatively few software development projects that like naturally include people with a keen sense of, you know, how to make a project run smoothly. People tend to people who write code tend to like to do this, and you get a bunch of people who like to write code. But there's so much more to this, right? This is a lot more like jazz music. It's more than playing an instrument. You have to know a bunch of other things to pull it off.
Yeah, I
So,
like productivity. Productivity is my second name, or maybe my first name.
yeah.
I care about that. Cool. And I am so happy to see you are relaxed and satisfied, man.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. There's
Why? Is it because Lauren joined, or
no, that was
that was
nice
pretty
though.
cool?
No, the feeling of satisfaction was that it's two things. The fake GitHub class being like hidden away, buried away in the steps TS file has been bugging me for some time.
Mm.
And to pull it out into its own file and sit it next to the class that it's faking feels very satisfying to me, because I think it starts to kind of clarify that this pluggable architecture that we're building, that we've got the core function, and then we've got these two different implementations of a GitHub thing that you can plug in, and they sit right next to each other. So I really liked that. That was very satisfying. And then also, that thing didn't have any tests, and we just kind of hacked it out in the context of the Cucumber steps, which again was fine for the early days, but it's been starting to weigh on me that like we hadn't done that, and it was just the right time that we needed some tests for it, because it was getting a bit awkward to implement, and we just did it beautifully, like this ping pong thing where we made the first test pass quite easily, and then we added a failing test for it to actually do something, but then we recognized that something wasn't enough, so we added a third test, and then we made it really work. It was just beautiful, and we got all the way around that loop and committed it, and that was just great.
It is pretty cool to see all the things together, and I'm actually glad that you chose this big project, because I think it's much more aligned to real life than just a small little thing that you finish in a day or an hour or two. Is that how you would normally do it in like any
Well,
project, or
so
would
for something like
have
this,
better?
for something like this, we definitely could have hacked it out without a hexagonal architecture, and we could have probably made something that worked for now without any tests, just tested it by hand, and we'd have had it done in a few sessions, but it wouldn't have been safe for anybody to then come along and change it later, and it wouldn't have been a kind of nice demonstration of how hexagonal architecture works. And actually I really like that we've got an example. This is an exemplar here of how to do this style of development, where you can test the core logic and you keep the stuff that talks to the outside world separate. It's really nice to have an exemplar like that in a public repository, because a lot of times when I coach teams that work on this stuff, it's in some private commercial repository and no one ever gets to see it. So it's nice to have that out in the open, and it's a nice size that you can read the code and get your head around it quite easily, I would imagine. So that's nice too.
Yeah. Cool, but it's already 5:02 or 7:02. But I'm glad you are feeling relaxed and satisfied, because I thought last week you were a little bit stressed.
Well, I just had to go, didn't I? Because I had to go to the barbers. But this is and I think it's interesting, the difference between you feeling lost and me feeling satisfied. That difference is that I have that roadmap in my head, so I know how this piece of work we've just done is moving us forward down a path. And what we really need to do is make sure that everybody can see that path, so that we can all feel relaxed and satisfied at the end of a session.
I do feel it's not a negative. It's authentic. It's like, this is really how I feel. And I like that we are all like very different in how we feel, because that to me is how we can align. And yes, sometimes you feel good and sometimes you don't feel so good. But yeah. So I don't think we need to go over the what did we learn. We can reflect on in our own time over it and maybe decide whether we want to add some more actions to our to-do list. But if we just focus on what we've got there, do we need to add anything else, or should we say goodbye and say
I have to jet. I have to take off.
enjoy
Thanks so much.
I'm fine to say goodbye. It's a great conversation to finish with.
Thank you, and yeah, we'll see you next week.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers both. Take care. See you next week.
Bye.